Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Friday Night StarCraft. I am the Dragooner, and this week I am bringing the actual fourth and final game that I have not yet covered from the HomeStoryCup 22 upper bracket first round. Just clearing this game up to complete the set before I am XXII next week, and after that I'll try and pick up some replays for that. I suppose at the time of watching this, I am XXII will be either in progress or starting the next day. I can't remember if it starts on the Friday or not. Either way, that's at least at time of uploading. But either way, I will hopefully be able to get some games from that. If I can't get them in time, I'm considering doing something special for the following week. Maybe throw around some Metal League 2v2s with a friend, or we'll see how it goes. Regardless, got some PvP underway. Can't say I'm too familiar with PvP builds myself. However, got 2 gates underway for both sides, plenty of gas, and Astrea having a probe run around. Sorry, that's ShoWTimE having his probe run around in Astrea's base, being a massive pain in the butt. Either way, both sides see 2 gate, core, double gas, no surprises for anyone. Of course, warp gate starts immediately. Stalker sentry for ShoWTimE. Two stalkers for Astrea. Sorry. We have actual differences in builds. It's a miracle. And where is this? Alright, Astrea getting his proxy down. ShoWTimE, just blocking an expansion. Just nothing big, as you do. ShoWTimE spots the probe. Possibly feels that there's probably a proxy coming. Or at least that he was trying to plant one down. And he would have been correct in that, but I also can't say that I think he is entirely worked out what's happening here. Astrea moving across the map. ShoWTimE sending out the Phoenix to scout. Does not spot anything. Might have spotted the 2 stalkers there. Yep, and if those 2... Oh, that's very smart. He managed to avoid dragging the stalkers into... Okay, ShoWTimE knows something's up now. He's gotten this... He's seen that there's no expansion. He's seen 2 gates. He'll know that there's at least one more gate somewhere on the map. And he will know that there is a pylon with it. So, suspect there's going to be... Yep. Down goes the shield batteries. It's got a lot of sentries here. Manages to get the force field. Managed to deal with some of these stalkers at first. These force fields are about to go down. Nexus will finish. Will help a little bit. The stalkers burst through. Good use of the force field there to deal with these guys one at a time. Shield battery finishes. It's going to take a lot of wind out of the sails of this push. Especially with the Nexus there, he can overcharge if he needs to. Forces them back for now, but there's still a huge... There's 8 for Astrea, and only 3 stalkers over here for ShoWTimE. But ShoWTimE continues to be the... From the games I've seen of ShoWTimE, it always feels like, to me at least, he is the expert. He's the best player I've seen at not losing. He's not always quickest, he's not always the fastest, and he can have difficulty closing, like, actually getting ahead and winning games. But when it comes to simply not dying, there's few that do it quite as well. And with the Immortal out now, Astrea's really going to have to get some good use out of these sentries. Ooh, good couple of force fields there. Traps a sentry and a couple of stalkers. And the Zealot as well. The Immortal, though, is going to get some big work done. It's getting focused down now. But with shield battery overcharge, don't think Astrea is going to be able to push into that. But once that overcharge runs out, the shield battery is starting to run low on energy. Pokes forwards. Immortal gets a shot off. Those sentries are, they can't be feeling good. Takes down a sentry. Few adepts now. Pushes down another couple. But more stalkers, more sentries warping in behind this. He's getting his base behind this as well. So he's getting ready to transition out of it. ShoWTimE. Pushes forward again. Immortal, focus down. Doesn't manage to save it with the prism. Pushing forwards. Picks up, saves a few units there. Push continuing here from Astrea. No Twilight on the way. It's just desperately trying to get enough units to deal with this. Oh, good pick off there. Hasn't seen Blink yet. So no Sea Stalkers are still in the middle of the map. Immortal, oh, manages. Oh, good use of the Warp Prism there. Saves all of his Stalkers that got prismed. They got, sorry, got force fielded. More poking. Okay, I think Astrea's just pulling back now. He's decided he's not going to be able to get this done. ShoWTimE. Going to use a couple of Stalkers to finish off this proxy. Gets a pile on. Obviously, no more warping can happen. He can kill the gateway at his own pace. Just sends the adepts out to double check that he's not taking the expansion there. Ooh. Astrea picks off a Stalker, loses a sentry for it. Probably a worthwhile trade. Oh, good dodge of the force field there from ShoWTimE. Just parked outside the base now. Sends the adepts. I mean, he's gonna. Yeah, I was about to say, just lets those shades finish as Astrea does not react in the slightest. Probe's going down behind all of this. Astrea pulls the boys. Microing units back. Getting huge amounts of value out of this Warp Prism and these Immortals. Stalkers are going to go down eventually. Probably going to want to pick up these Immortals now. 11 probes down. 3 probes lost for ShoWTimE on the other side of that. Probably a little bit of a run by. Regardless. Astrea survives the push, manages to push the game forwards. There is Phoenixes coming out now for Astrea. ShoWTimE. Still focusing on the ground tech. Getting his blink now. A few more warp gates. Evacuates with a few units. He's got some adepts sitting behind. Probably wants to deal with this warp gate once he has the chance. Astrea building up his Phoenixes. Sending out a probe to, yep, take the watchtower. More. Astrea continuing to build up the Phoenixes. Getting an Immortal as well to back up his Stalkers. Third base, almost done for ShoWTimE. Astrea a bit further behind. Managing to roughly hang with it in army supply for now, and Phoenixes and Oracles do always have that potential of causing some problems. regardless, ShoWTimE pushing across the map again. Deciding that he really doesn't appreciate Astrea trying to take that watchtower. Astrea, noticing this, pushing forward to react. Meanwhile, the Adepts. Oh, attack towards the third now. Blinking back, sees the Phoenixes. They're gonna lift up the Immortals. Oh, good focus fire on the Immortals there from Astrea. Forces ShoWTimE back for now. Another wave of Stalkers. A lot of Stalkers. Managed. Oh, 1, 2. Oh, shield battery overcharge. Saves the Immortal for a while. But with the number of Stalkers that are here, you can just focus down the Stalkers and everything without giving anything a chance to heal properly. Shield battery overcharge down, and Astrea does not have enough to stop it. We are now on game 2. Gotta love PvP after some of our ZVT and PvZP marathons that we've had recently. Get the games over in 10 minutes. And see you in half an hour after we regardless. Both sides going, looks like setting up a little bit more economically here on Inside and Out, throwing up the gateways a bit further forward. Hopefully that'll mean we get some more macro out of this. Apologies. However, equally, it could mean that we just, someone puts down the proxy gate and they walk through the wide open door, and it's good night, Irene. Double gas for both sides. Is Astrea even scouted yet? He's just scouting now.
Undefended.
Gonna make himself a pain in the ass around the expansion again. Core goes down before the Nexus. Both sides. Don't think he'd really get away with that in PvP very well. Tried to go too quick. Astrea, putting down the pylon for a second. We'll cancel that. That will be spotted. ShoWTimE acts like he's going to put a Nexus down. He has nowhere near enough money for that. As he is currently a bit busy mining gas. And in fact, he has put down a Stargate and walled himself in. So, Astrea responds in kind. ShoWTimE, will he spot it? It looks like he will, yeah. He sees what's up, he knows what he's dealing with. Those Astrea. And we get ready to begin the Phoenix Wars. Astrea's probe, just about surviving there on 1 health, sees the Adept. He can't win that fight, and will back off. Meanwhile, on the other side, alright, expansion's going down at almost identical timings. ShoWTimE is marginally ahead with his first Phoenix. And his Warp Gate, and just ever so barely ahead generally. And I do believe it's a solid wall off of, yeah, okay. That shield battery makes it a solid wall off. So, both sides stuck in their base until they build a warp prism or something, I guess. ShoWTimE sends his Phoenix across the map. However, as Astrea does not have any air units yet, it can't do anything. And in fact, Astrea is just chronoing out Phoenixes at the moment, trying to catch back up in Phoenix count. As things are looking rather identical. Astrea has an additional pylon. ShoWTimE is destroying his gateway. I have legitimately no idea if that's deliberate or not. I don't know if he wants to come across the map. This is a very even Phoenix fight. I don't think either of them want to fight an even Phoenix fight. Gateway will go down, so I'm going to assume it was deliberate. He's not rebuilding a gateway. So, I'm going to guess he wants to get an expansion down at some point. Although he does have double Stargate. I'm not sure if that is the case. He's going to feel bad about opening up his base if he comes across the map and notices yeah, if he managed to get in, spots the gateways in the Twilight Council, as that would give Astrea a way into the base with all the gateway units that he's about to build. ShoWTimE managed to get the pylon down to block the third. Having seen this Stargate not building Phoenixes for so long, I probably should realize that there's a bit of a ground transition going on. I've always under the impression that it usually doesn't end well, but we will have to see. Just picks off a zealot, going to recall home to deal with this Oracle. Hasn't got anything else to deal with it, so I guess he kind of has to. Definitely not an ideal situation. As meanwhile, Astrea puts down his third. ShoWTimE's Phoenixes continuing to fly around the map. Blinkstalkers massing up. Gonna fly in. Going to go for the Phoenixes first, and a few probes. Starts attacking the Stalkers now. 1. 2 Stalkers go down. Only loses a Phoenix. Picks off a few more probes. Gets out without losing too much there. However, he only has 2 bases. This is the point where he has lost the upgrade lead. Astrea knows about that third base going down, knows the timing of it. ShoWTimE will run in, pick up a couple of probes, lose a couple of Phoenixes, get a couple of Stalkers. Loses the other Phoenix there. That wasn't in the script. Regardless, done to build a ground army now. I think he's done with the Phoenixes for now. As Astrea flies into the base with his sole remaining Phoenix. Where the Phoenix flock? Oh, there they are. Ran into the main, killed another 5 probes. Definitely getting some good work done with the Phoenix lead that he got. He is supply blocked now, which is a little bit not ideal. The ShoWTimE's Phoenix got the first shot off, and the rest of the flock will fly in and finish that off. Very high-tech ground army from ShoWTimE at the moment. Another side has a huge number of units at this point in time. But ShoWTimE definitely relying on the sentries and immortals to deal with any potential stalker pushes. Astrea keeping his stalkers reasonably spread at the moment. Hoping to deal with the Phoenixes as they come in, I guess. Both sides spreading some pylons around the map, getting a little bit of vision. Definitely not the worst way to spend 100 gold. As... yeah. He saw a bit before he flew into the other half of Astrea's stalkers, who would like to get revenge for that probe, but are utterly unable to do so. Oracle hiding in the corner, biding his time. Oh, ShoWTime's Phoenixes get blunked on. One goes down. Definitely not ideal there. Got a good idea about this base going down. So, responds with his own fourth. Ever so slightly behind in the base timing is ShoWTime, but he is maintaining the worker lead through his Phoenixes, and he also falling well behind in the upgrades, I do believe. Oh no, 1-1. 2-2 starting up. He's about 20 seconds. Oh, 30 seconds behind on that. More Phoenixes flying through the Stalkers again. Baits them into the rest of his army, but doesn't manage to respond quickly. Kind of losing control of his army there a little bit. But he has the Archon lead, so I don't think Astrea wants to be fighting that choke. Especially when Astrea can run through and, at the very least, distract the Stalker fire. Picking up a few Zealots, a few Stalkers here. Grabbing some units. Archon trapped away from the rest of the army. Does manage to stay alive somehow. Most of the Phoenixes go down, but a large part of Astrea's army is as well. These Stalkers just getting held up and left with nowhere to go. Big wave of Zealots, another Archon, warping in at the fourth for Astrea. Oracle lays down the stasis ward. Has gotten a revelation off on this army as well, which helps a lot. Ooh, definitely not ideal there. Traps a few Zealots and 3 Archons is the big thing about this, about that one. But ShoWTime able to back off. Gonna want to push back in here in a second as the stasis ward runs out. Back up his units, I suspect. Yep. Shows up with enough stuff that is a lot of Archons. And yes, they are huge units. But whoop, does not quite manage to pick up the War Prism. As Zealots are charging everywhere. Archons shooting back. Sentries. Force fields are not going to do a huge amount now with this number of... As a matter of fact, I don't believe there are any sentries left. No. Still 2 sentries for ShoWTime. But I don't think they're going to get a lot done with this many Archons on the field. Yeah, ShoWTime really wants to open up this path. Just so he can fit his Archons through and they don't just mill around behind each other as much as anything. Heads up in the middle here, but could get collapsed on if he's not too careful. Both armies coming in from both sides. Managed to force the army back on one side, and then focuses here on the left to head towards the third base. Comes back around to deal with the army at the fourth. Keeping control of his army here. Threatening the natural. Threatening the various bases. Focusing up the hill now. There's a few Zealots. Chase off the army on the left. So many Archons. Your shield batteries putting a huge amount of work in. But going to be running low soon. The overcharge spent on both Nexuses. This one doesn't have enough energy, but probably will by the time the cooldown comes off. Phoenixes just spend their whole time lifting. I think that's a good choice there. Get the army in the air. They can't do anything while that's happening. As few mortals in the natural. Third base army. Astrea trying to distract the back half of ShoWTime's army. If he's watching out, he might be able to pick up the War Prism here, but he doesn't quite seem to be able to push through to it. These Archons are going to annihilate all of these workers here. Meanwhile, in the center, very close by, but Astrea is starting to gain the advantage. With his 2 health Archon. Manages to get it back to a shield battery to get a little bit of health back on it. Meanwhile, the army attacking the third gets cleaned up. Behind this, ShoWTimE has claimed a 5th. Continues laying down the pressure. Just so many Archons on both sides on this fight. We've had 11 Archons total die so far. Just showing how much of a knockout fight this has been as pushes forward. As we just have the 2 glowing balls of blue on both sides. War Prism gets focused down. Huge number of probes dying at the 4th. I think ShoWTimE might just have enough to push through this army here as well. It's a little bit hard to tell as the army comes back from attacking the 3rd. I think there's going to be 3 Immortals. I think will be enough to clean this up. But all of the workers there went down. Gonna try and... I don't think he can really escape with any of these. Never mind, a bunch of workers ran away. My apologies. He's back with most of his army. But he has his 5th established now. Astrea only just putting it down. Natural mostly mined out. Main mostly mined out. For this... what's this? 3rd base? Starting to mine out. 4th base is still looking pretty good, but even there's going to be a few mineral patches they're going to start running out very soon. And now, ShoWTimE has the Disruptor, moving back into the 3rd. Zone the army. Ooh, picks up a couple of Zealots there. Good Disruptor hit. A hit on these Immortals would be really nice right about now. There's at least one of those that would go down. I think they all might. Is it 200 or 250? I can never remember. Oh no, it's only 100. Regardless, some big splash damage can be done. Probes forced to pull. They don't do terribly well against Archons. And Astrea sees the writing on the wall, taps out, and that is game 2 to ShoWTimE. And game 3 now. We're playing on Moondance. I feel like this would be a good spot to hide proxies, but in practice probably wouldn't. It'd be so much fun though. That would probably work at my level. There's proxy 2 gate down there or something. However, I suspect that Astrea and ShoWTimE are more than capable of being able to deal with that. As both of them building up on the high ground this time. Definitely not the standard wall off from Astrea. Honestly, not from ShoWTimE either. So, probably a bit worried about being able to get Archons in and out of his base later. This is before the patch that Archons learn how to push buildings out of their way, I guess. That probably explains it. They didn't go on the diet like the Ultralists did. They just learnt to walk, squeeze, or push buildings out of the way. I'm not sure which it would be, but either way. 2 gates going down, both sides. Not that Astrea knows that yet, because I'm guessing he's hiding tech back here. ShoWTimE spots the gateways, spots the cybercore. He definitely thinks that everything happening here is completely normal, nothing to see here. Continue on with your day. Gates starting the introduction. ShoWTimE picking up the 2 Stalkers. Astrea the Adept and a Stalker this time. Those use Astrea's probe. As both of them deciding to leave before their workers just die ignominiously. You know the word I'm thinking of. Ignominiously, I believe is how it's. I could be wrong. Baldus sends one stalker to kill this probe, and will finally succeed. Meanwhile, the Adept Shade, don't think it got spotted there. Regardless, ShoWTimE poked out, saw what he wanted to see, I guess, or didn't. Saw what he didn't want to see, and backs out. The Adept will finish its shade and try to run for the back. The Stalker will point out many reasons why he does not believe that that is an acceptable behavior. And the Adept does manage to escape. Where is he now? Did he get recalled out? Yes, he did. That doesn't feel worth it for a 3 health Adept. But hey, what am I to know? Warp Gate, finishing up for both sides. Blink, getting chronoed by ShoWTimE. Astrea either finished slightly earlier or has already spent his chrono. Hoping for the overreaction there, I think Astrea is. Probably hoped that he'd kill the Phoenix earlier, the hallucinated Phoenix earlier, so that this Oracle would, you know, look the slightest bit realistic, but when he knows there's no Stargate, yeah, you don't really have to react to that Oracle, do you? Regardless, more scouting going on for ShoWTimE. Sees the chrono on what I think he'll probably fairly safely assume is Blink. Flies around, sees probably everything he wanted to. Sees the Robo going down. Stalker's pushing across. Your Adept's on the other side. Poking out. Kills the probe. That'll slow down the expansion. Just a tiny little bit enough. Be rather annoying. Blink finishing up here for ShoWTimE. Astrea's already done. And with an extra Stalker and a couple of sentries, push is definitely not going to be happening there. However, this Adept, forcing a few Stalkers of ShoWTimE's run to the back. Gets more gas. Sees the Stalkers pushing through the front and forces them back. A lot of steering back and forth going on so far by both players. ShoWTimE elected to take his third, further forwards, more exposed position. Astrea taking the pocket one, with a bit less minerals and more importantly, only a single gas geyser. Although considering that he hasn't taken all of his gas yet anyway, probably not as relevant. Either way, +1 weapons on the way for both sides. Charge on the way for Astrea. ShoWTimE electing not to go for that yet. He spreads his armies between his various bases. I think he's most worried about Adepts trying to slip through at the moment, as both sides spending huge amounts of sentry energy on hallucination. Feel like they're using that every time it comes off of every time these sentries get enough energy. I say as there is now a hallucin flies off with a sentry of under 10 energy. Spots out the army. Has he spotted the 4th yet? No. I feel like he would very much like to know that that's there, but has not spotted it yet, as he just now puts down his own 4th in the pocket. And ShoWTimE now, putting down a second Robo. Putting down the Robo Bay. The other side. Astrea getting +2 weapons. Chronoing that out. He has the Dark Shrine. Has not built any Dark Templar yet. However, that can only be a matter of time, and where are the observers? Okay, so the observers of ShoWTimE are in position to help deal with these DTs, but with DT Blink on the way, well, that becomes quite a bit more difficult to deal with, especially you have this army moving across the map. It has its own observer. ShoWTimE, oh, blinks forward, matches this army. He doesn't quite have the units to deal with this. His own observer could get picked off here. The entry puts down a force field. I believe that was, yeah, observer getting picked off there. Just trying to weaken up this army a little bit to prepare for the DT push, I believe. Whoop. Good force fields there. Will be responded to with the Disruption Nova, Purification Nova. Picks off the other observer there. Definitely what Australia was hoping for. Forces ShoWTimE into another observer. Only not able to double produce those disruptors for the moment. However, he does have 4 with the 5th on the way, which often in pro games ends up being about the optimum number to avoid the just spam out disruption effect as losing control of their army. Stalkers fighting off at each other. Disruptor picks off a stalker. DTs warped in on the left. Two armies continue poking back and forth at each other. Guardian shield forced out. Disruptors move ahead and pick off one stalker. Oh, disruption goes too far there. Overshoots the army. Manages to pick off second immortal. DTs continue hanging out on the left. Some good blink micro from Australia here, really taking advantage of his higher sentry count. However, he needs to send these DTs into the kill some probes, I think. There are cannons down, but he's got enough DTs that doesn't really matter. ShoWTimE, just about completing the tech tree now. He's got everything except Templar tech in this game. As loses a few stalkers there, picks off a few of his own. Astrea standing in zealots from the left-hand side. Kind of forgot about his army there for a second. Blinks back. Gets himself into an okay position. Gonna need some disruptor hits here. As the DTs blink on top of the cannon here. Does still have his observer. Uses the purification to zone out. Gets 1, 2, one DT remaining. Meanwhile, the stalkers jump on top of the disruptors. They've gotten themselves into a bit of a sandwich here. Got a lot of them going down, but pick to completely reset ShoWTimE's disruptor count may well be worth it. This singular DT that survived will prevent this Nexus going down. As will he get the cancel off will be the biggest question we have at the moment. I think it's building fast enough. Yep, forces the cancel. And well, he still hasn't dealt with the DT. He would really like to kill that Dark Templar, I believe. Because kills the probe this time. But the army attacking on the right hand side still got more stalkers if I'm not mistaken. Only by a handful. Forces another cancel, kills the pylon. Pylon on the far left, warps in a few zealots. And a few more DTs. Meanwhile, 3 Stargate carriers being pumped out at the moment. As more attack in the center. picks off disruptors. Zealots running around everywhere. Stalkers doing their best to shoot things. Another disruptor goes down. Warp Prism runs in and dies. I'm guessing that was the wrong hotkey there. DTs. Force back. Only 5 probes go down. Meanwhile, Astrea picking up some huge economy lead now. Up to 5-6 bases. Killing off a huge number of stalkers here, forcing them back into the base. ShoWTimE has a Colossus now. That'll be good against the Zealots, but not much else. Carriers show their faces. And they will be able to finish off this army eventually. And yeah, Astrea just has too much stuff. And forces ShoWTimE to tap out. Data C now for game 4. Astrea's still on the right, still in the blue. And ShoWTimE still in the red. More PvP. Some low ground pylons. No one seems very far forward. I feel like that'll be a part of the wall. I don't know. Protoss walls are an arcane art. No one truly understands how they work. They just do in the end. And I don't think anybody really knows how. Regardless, both sides, gateway, then scout. Nothing fancy, funny, nothing fancy. Nexus continuing. Some later. Okay, this ramp is a bit further forward than it looks. My mistake. Its probes get across the map at almost the same time. And they will see almost the exact same thing. ShoWTimE will send down a probe, and then Astrea will a little bit later. So, both sides going for the Cyber Core first, before the second gate. Bit of a change up. Very early second gas though, so from both of them. Astrea slightly later, but I'm gonna guess that means Phoenix Wars. It makes sense on a map this big. Get the Phoenixes out. Both sides get a Zealot. Get Warp Gate and go to Stargate. Everything is proceeding as we expected. Astrea will walk down the ramp and see the Stargate. And be completely unsurprised. ShoWTimE's pylon will be cancelled. And the expansions go down at pretty much the same time. Regardless, life continues. As Astrea now gets his Stargate just a little bit later. And in the main rather than as part of a hard wall. Oracle first from ShoWTimE. Not sure I've seen that version in a while. Still no warp. Oh no, he is getting warp gate now. He's not going that mental. He is going to stop that probe from seeing what comes out of the Stargate. That seems like it could be important, and also holy mother of walls, Batman. I think I missed some adept harass. I apologize. Regardless, here comes the actual harass with the Oracle, and well, there's gonna be a Stalker just about and a Sentry. Oh, actually no, the Phoenix is coming out. That will deal with the Oracle. Gets the probe. And will promptly die. Doesn't even try to save it, really, and I can't say I blame him. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE, after delaying everything for that single Oracle that immediately dies, transitions into Blink Stalkers. After he stasis wards these probes on gas. And recalls the Oracle home. I suppose that's fine at this stage of the game. It's not gonna cost him too badly. Where is that shield battery being built? Ah, yes, I'm blind. So, yep, getting ready. Deciding the Stargate is the least important building, so we will not have Phoenix Wars this game. And we'll batter that down to open back up. Oh, couple of Phoenixes. Excuse me. Kill a few probes. Kill another probe, as the Stalkers are too busy trying to kill their own Stargate to protect probes. Phoenixes, yeah, this is going to be really annoying. Quite a while. At the very least until Blink is done, but honestly, the main thing holding back the Phoenix for us at this point in time is the lack of energy. And, you know, maybe the 6 Stalker push across the map as well. That might do it too. Single sentry. So, if the Phoenixes are there to lift up the Stalkers, they have enough energy to do so. She'll just about have enough energy for a couple. And, okay, yeah, he's got 6 Stalkers as well now. But he doesn't have Blink. But with the Phoenixes overhead, yeah, that can't blink while you're dangling in the air. Protoss haven't figured out that technology yet. Meanwhile, this Zealot gets left behind. His Stalker buddies abandon him. The third base is finishing up now. Astrea is slightly earlier. Probe count, yeah, slightly in the lead for Astrea, but not devastating. Considering the number that he killed, I kind of expect him to be more than 5 ahead, but well, there you go. Phoenixes doing a lovely, lovely dance. And proceed across the map. Maybe. There's definitely that point in the game, though, where you're just sitting there going, come on, do something. Phoenixes, move forward. Get spotted by a pylon. Well, they actually going to do some probe harass. Maybe. I headed through. They were spotted. Oracle popping back to, yep, gets a revelation. And might die for his trouble if he doesn't get microed away there. The Blink Stalkers will chase these Phoenixes into a corner and then be able to do anything. Bit of a Stalker pool moving across the map. It's going to run into an Immortal and even more Stalkers than they have though, so don't see much good coming of that. Both sides with a gateway explosion coming now. +1 weapons. Oracle just laying down random stasis traps around the wards around the map. 4th bases coming down again. Astrea slightly quicker, not devastatingly, as 4 probes get killed by Phoenixes. I believe he lost a Phoenix. Whoops. Ooh, gonna get caught out here. That's... oh no. Okay, oh, 1 health. Being... okay, I was gonna say being saved by the armor there, but no, just couldn't quite finish him off. Good revelation on a decent chunk of the army there. Meanwhile, You stalkers get surprised by the random stasis ward that will not really achieve anything. Nice revelation on the army there. Gets the observer as well, which is nice. Probably not terribly relevant. Regardless, the revelation goes down, and we have a fight! Link Stalkers! So, units are dying. As a matter of fact, this is a real strong push from Astrea here. The Stalkers will fight the Stalkers, but I don't think there's a huge amount to do with these Immortals when they eventually get to the front line. Shield Battery Overcharge is going to help, obviously. Going to give them something to get when they blink back. But the Warpins continue. Stalkers continue looking at each other. Shield Batteries doing about as much healing as they can do. Immortal goes down, but Astrea has a lot of more Blink Stalker here, and I think he's got more, and he's definitely got more firing. A few probes go down. Stalkers starting to get funneled. Shield Batteries continuing to put in some work. But it feels like Astrea is going to have enough here to just force through, and yeah, down goes the 4th base. Down goes ShoWTimE. All tied up. So, this is it. Game 4. ShoWTimE top right, Astrea bottom left. On definitely one of the smaller maps, if not the smallest map in this map pool. So clearly that means you need to get your likes, subscribes, comments done all now, because you'll be too busy watching what's happening in this highly intense and presumably very short game. Yeah, my selling out needs work. Oh, anyway. Will they build gateways? Yes, they do. Who'd have thought? They're also going to immediately scout afterwards, and who can blame them? Because probably some sort of zealot all-in or something that you can do that'll just wreck you. Who knows? Other way. Push is heading across. Astrea, sorry. Yeah, gets in. These are base. ShoWTimE. Getting 2 gases before his Cybercore. So I'm guessing that means another early Stargate. Yep, Stargate. And Cybercore. With no second gas on the other side. Which I believe, judging by the way everything else is, that this probe of ShoWTimE's is actually being extremely annoying and blocking an expansion. I'm just waiting for him to like cancel his pilot and put down another. Yeah, no, he's gonna cancel it and put down another, isn't he? Well, that's like a 2-minute delay. To the fast expansion. I mean, at this rate, ShoWTimE might be expanding before Astrea. And he's built a Stargate. Is he gonna cancel it? Yep, cancels it. Doesn't stop it forever. But regardless. Astrea just about managing to get pylon down. Yeah, we'll have to cancel that. He's holding up the expansion, but it's not too bad. I say as he gets the second pylon down. I almost... Oh, there's an adept out. I really need to keep better eyes on these adepts. Where are you? There you are. Currently not doing much of anything. Astrea gets another pylon. At some point, this is going to hurt. As a matter of fact, ShoWTimE's had enough of this and sends down another probe to help deal with it. deal with it. Finally manages to get the pylon down. Sorry, the Nexus. As the Oracle gets a kill. It is in fact a miracle. Second Oracle coming out now. Now, at that point, the shield battery that's been built here is a little bit less effective. But there's not a huge amount of energy on the beam, so... They will fly in, not see any probes. They will, however, see stalkers, and that is a little bit harder to deal with. Not just blast through a stalker with an oracle, sadly. Flying in, gonna get two probes, and it's gonna lose at least one of those oracles. Not sure that was worth it, to be honest with you. Now, there's no counter damage happening on the other side. Just the, oh, I was going to say just the gateway explosion. Never mind. When in doubt, Dark Shrine. Not even behind. It's just when in doubt. He has 4 less work. Okay, he's slightly behind. But it's really not that bad. Although, decent job of trying to pen in that Oracle there by Astrea. Does not manage to get it in the end. But the Stargate has fulfilled its purpose and is now being considered a liability, I guess. The probe of ShoWTimE will likely put down a expansion soon. Yep, there we go. Is a fair bit behind that of Astrea's, but... Oh, Blink gets the Revelation off, but... I'd rather have an Oracle than a Revelation, to be perfectly honest with you. Regardless. ShoWTimE, gonna try and get a little bit of map presence with these Stalkers. Astrea, going to try and, I assume, cut these Stalkers off at the, or at least come out to meet them. As ShoWTimE's Dark Templar just having a bit of a poke around. Nothing to see here. Oh wow, one probe goes down and immediately ShoWTimE knows what's up. So Astrea knows what's up. Doesn't quite manage to get the shield battery. 3 probes. Not a Dark Shrine's worth of probes. Also not 2 Dark Templars worth of probes. Still hasn't spotted the pylon though, which is nice for a ShoWTimE. And he is likely going to force a little bit of extra protection now. But... he got a robo yet? I don't believe he has. No, there's no robo up for ShoWTimE yet. That feels like the sort of unit that he'd really like to have right about now. Well, either way, 3 bases established. Both sides. 4th going down now for Astrea. And looks like we might get some mid to late game PvP. Definitely not something you see every day. I don't know what to say. Looks like another DT probably went down. Forcing out the cannons now anyway. +1 attack. Too far away on either side. Charge. Finishing up for ShoWTimE. Stalkers. Moving around backwards and forwards. Doing a nice little jig. Astrea. Cutting down the evil probe before it can do much of anything. Both sides getting their +2 weapons. Astrea's a bit behind with charge. But there's not a huge number of zealots on either side, so I don't think that's going to be a definitive part of any fights coming up. Well, it's only helped those zealots close the distance before Astrea remembered that he had force fields, and as a matter of fact, with these immortals, he is just cutting down a lot of these stalkers. A few more coming. Elects not to run into shield batteries, which, all things considered, is probably a good choice. Even if this one is rather low. Regardless, pulls back to the middle of the map. Building up some zealots. Getting warp prisms. Getting another base. It really is the duality of PvP. You get those 10-minute epics, and then you get these 20-minute, half-an-hour games where nobody really wants to do a decisive attack, and they just keep taking bases. It just feels like either of them, if they just continued pushing, they could just win the game. Which does sometimes feel like it seems to be against the Protoss religion. Regardless, I think Astrea has the advantage in this particular fight. He's got enough Blink Stalker to push through all of that. It can be hard to tell exactly how much power is in a Protoss ball. Because while Stalkers take up a huge amount of space, they're not always the best. He does pick off the Observer there, which is nice. Ooh, managed to grab a Stalker, which isn't really relevant, but regardless. Oh, Astrea just right clicks on the Nexus. That goes down. That's okay, yep, and DT's gonna run in here, kill a cannon. And kill a bunch of probes. And I suspect the nearest detector is a bit away. We'll have to see if he manages to... Oop, he's going to pick up the Warp Prism here. That's a good pick off. Now, is he going to manage to get this base before any detection or army gets over it? I think he will, because he's not responding to it really at all. And yes, he gets the Nexus. So they traded a Nexus for a Nexus, but it was a 5th base that Astrea wasn't really mining from for a 4th base that kind of the backbone of ShoWTimE's economy. During main is looking very second-hand at the moment. The natural is, well, it's going to be not looking great soon with the Zealots and GTs making a nice strike force here on the left-hand side. And the Archon Ball begins to build. Zealots dash forward to make sure that they are the first thing shot. 2 attack here for both sides. 3 attacks not too far away. That might be enough Zealots to deal with this. Certainly enough to deal with all the Dark Temple. If they're on their own. Meanwhile, another fight happening here on the left. On the right hand side, sorry. More Stalkers. Now, Astrea definitely has a Stalker edge. The ShoWTimE current, okay, he didn't have the numbers edge in terms of Zealot, but he did have the ability to attack edge in terms of Zealots. And it manages him to push him back to the shield batteries. Gonna poke up here, gonna try and force down. Okay, he's not gonna force that down. Loses an Archon. Does manage to force the cancel, but he's going to lose a big chunk of his army here. It's not ideal. Loses one Immortal. Second Archon. Oh, second Immortal. Gets the shield battery overcharge as the two Zealot balls on the left-hand side continuing to spar. The 5th base on top left for ShoWTimE does get spotted. Disruptor, shot misses, as is tradition. Second Disruptor shot, ooh, hits a decent chunk of Stalkers there. Next one only hits 1 or 2, but forces the a big blink away. Takes down the Disruptor. DTs and Zealots forcing their way in. Stalkers blinking up, take out another Disruptor, but without blink, loses about 5 or 6 Stalkers to that one. 6 Stalkers go down there. And forced to back up once he gets back in range of the shield batteries. Meanwhile, Astrea has a huge Zealot ball in the middle of the map that he decided that he would be sporting and not kill the 3rd base. I genuinely think that he had have just right-clicked on the Nexus there, he would have killed it easily, but regardless. I don't think there's much that 1 cannon and 2 shield batteries could have done. More sparring from the... Oh, yeah, I want to dodge that Disruptor hit, ShoWTimE. As... Whoa. Tried to get a bit too cute with that one. Now he's going to blink on top of it. Just constantly these 2 armies on either side of the map. And Disruptor, ooh, hits a big bunch of Zealots there. That'll shift the advantage in terms of ShoWTimE for the time being. In the meantime, manages to take out both Disruptors there. Possibly 1 or 2 other Stalkers as well. That was a big hit. Gonna make this base quite painful to defend. However, Astrea is just gonna run past. Gonna hit these Disruptors as they're coming in. Forces the recall of half the army while the other army moves the 10 meters to get back. 5th base up here for ShoWTimE with the big Zealot DT ball to defend against the Zealot DT ball of Astrea. Does move... Okay. Turns out DTs are really hard to work out which side they're on. Okay. I think ShoWTimE is winning this fight. However, on the other side, I think ShoWTimE is definitely losing this fight. Honestly, Disruptors make everything hard to tell. Zealots are probably just going to cut through a large number of these Stalkers. And Disruptor goes down. That's finished off. ShoWTimE manages to force the cancel in the top left. Stalkers continuing to dance around the map. Meanwhile, so roughly similar size armies. However, Astrea has a Disruptor. He has 2 Disruptors, in fact. And that rather significantly shifts the balance. Ooh, one decent hit, 1 complete airball. Finishes off a 2 health Zealot there with the other Disruptor. Picks off the Observer. Oh. And the staring match and occasional laser fight continues. 4 Observers going down. ShoWTimE just performing his sacrifices to the Vision Gods. I'm going to assume that's for favor when it comes to the Disruptor shots. In the hope that the gods will be kind and send you more airballs than game-ending damage. Because there are only 2 options. There are airballs, and there is, I just won the game off the back of a single hit. No, I'm not bad at the game. As ShoWTimE, attempting to show off the power of Disruptors by marching them into the middle of the enemy force. It discovers that this is not in fact how Disruptors are good. Just lost track of them there. Definitely has the advantage in the left-hand side Zealot ball. Yes, no, he does. Not sure if he has detection with it though, as Australia has a decent number of DTs. Good, regardless. Blinks up a Zealot. Astrea forcing his way in. He's got big disruptor lead here. But behind it, ShoWTimE runs in, takes down the shield battery, and leaves. Still loses a decent number of Zealots there, and a bunch of workers. Gonna try and... Okay, so ShoWTimE's trying to secure this base, my bad, should have looked at the meme map. As attacks on the right hand side continuing. Disruptor shots going out. Getting some huge hits there. Takes out all disruptors and about 20 stalkers, but I'm still not sure he has enough here. No, with the shield batteries, he does. But that was a monstrous hit. How many kills are on these disruptors? Okay, that one didn't get any. That one got 12. Okay, so one disruptor got 12 kills and the other two didn't get anything. But regardless, manages to blink out. Yeah, don't actually have enough to fight this ShoWTimE. You need to buy some time, kite them away. Shot doesn't get anything. Manages to kill the Nexus. That's not good. Does force the cancel here. But how much mining does he have left? There's nothing in the main, nothing in the natural worth talking about. Does have this new base up here. It's probably going to send some of the probably should send some of the probes up here. However, Astrea is going to take that out, and now he's got a rather large probe lead and a bit of an army lead, and Astrea's going to be sending his army back across. And while ShoWTimE might be very good at not dying, there's only so long you can not die for before your opponent takes an insurmountable lead, and Astrea does seem to be approaching that point now as he just blinks past the force fields. Do get some decent disruptor shots from the other side, but now, well, the disruptors are going down. Stalkers are going to get cleaned up, but I don't know if he has any detection left. And there are DTs around. No, he does still have some detection. Managed to just dodge a couple of disruptor shots. But, yeah, Astrea manages to collapse on the Stalkers, and that is game. Astrea takes out the reverse sweep to move on to the second round of the upper bracket. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.